Hi, I'm Blayden, and today we're going to talk about a movie. So first, I want to say beforehand, this is my first time doing a review like this. I'm really bad at structuring things and I ramble a lot, so if it just seems like I get off topic, just please forgive me. I'm really trying my hardest here. So the film I want to talk about today is a film called Lake Mungo.
I feel like something bad is going to happen to me. It hasn't reached me yet, but it's on its way.
Family and friends
normally
of Alice
tranquil
Palmer
setting of
gathered
Ararat's
to pay their final
normal dance.
respects to a young woman taken too soon.
It's a psychological horror film made in Australia. It was directed by Joel Anderson, and it stars Talia Zucker, Martin Sharp, David Pledger, Rosie Traynor, and Steve Jodrell. I think I pronounced his name right. So I'm not going to talk about the story in its entirety, but I am going to mention a lot of big reveals in it that really ruin it if you haven't seen the film. I really recommend seeing it. If you want to know my just quick review or my quick rating, I would give it like a solid 9 out of 10. Like, honestly, it is really, really good. It's a slow burn, and I'll get into that, but it is just really good, and I recommend you watch it as soon as you can. I swear to God, I see something here. It's so weird. Oh, it's just a glare. Okay. Alright, let's get into the movie. So the movie is shot in a mockumentary type style format. It is about a 16-year-old girl named Alice Palmer who drowns while visiting a lake with her family in 2005.
Death takes everything eventually. It's the meanest, dumbest machine there is, and it just keeps coming and it doesn't care. There's nothing else to know about it, really.
3 months after her passing, while the family, of course, is in a state of grieving, her older brother, Matthew, starts picking up her in pictures.
So I thought, well, I'll just set up a camera, I see anything. I looked back and there was footage of a figure moving across the hallway.
And with nowhere else to turn, they hired the help of a psychic, Ray Kemeny.
I think we all thought that the seance was a failure. Ray didn't really come up with anything, with any signs or anything. So after about an hour or so, we called it quits. And it wasn't until the next day that Matthew was reviewing the footage that there was an image of Alice.
Make your presence known to us.
So like I said, I don't really want to get too deep into the story because it is really worth going through the 86, 89-minute film, even if it might be kind of boring to some people. So now it's time to get into the spoilers and, of course, my thoughts on the film. So it turns out, like I mentioned with the pictures before, they were actually set up by Matt himself because he felt that his mother needed closure because she actually wasn't there to identify the body of Alice after she had passed. So what does end up happening, that's a big reveal in the middle, is even after it turns out that the footage of Alice was fake, they actually did find something else in there. They actually found somebody in their house that wasn't Alice or Matt. It was actually their neighbor. And while they were wondering why their neighbor was digging around Alice's room, they find a safe that she had in there and her fireplace hidden behind a chair. And in this fireplace was a tape. And the tape revealed that Alice was having these it's practically just a sex tape. It's really messed up saying it, that she had with the neighbors, and I guess they were really desperate to get it back after she passed. But there was something else deeper than that, not just the fact that she had this secret double life. It was something else, something that still lingers in me to this day. What ends up happening after all this goes down is Alice's boyfriend ends up giving the parents some new footage that they haven't seen before, and it's footage of Alice on the Lake Mungo trip. But she seems to be distraught, and she actually returns that same day without her cell phone. So it does raise a lot of questions of what she was doing there, because you can tell in the footage she's just very, very uncomfortable, distraught, like she's scared of something. Before we get to the reason why she ended up being distraught, I want to bring it back a little bit just to talk about horror films in general, just how the movie feels when you watch it. It's very, very immersive in my opinion. I got drawn into it almost immediately after the strange activity started happening. Everything from the acting to just how they set up everything is just beautifully done, and with the music and the ominous zoom in of the pictures, it's just, man, it just really, really gets under your skin. And that's what makes it so different for me in terms of other horror films. Let me give you an example. I really liked 2017's It. My only one problem is that they always had to have just loud orchestral or just some every time Pennywise does a scary. And it really bothers me. Like, if they were to do it in this movie, it would completely kill any type of build-up they would ever have in it. I actually want to talk about inspirations that I feel went into this film. If you haven't noticed, the main character's name is Alice Palmer, and as I mentioned before, it turns out that she had this secret double life where she was doing things she really shouldn't have been doing. And that kind of parallels with Laura Palmer, if you've seen one of the best shows ever made, Twin Peaks. It is about an FBI agent investigating the death of Laura Palmer, who mysteriously died. I think she was 16 or 17 too. And like, I can't even get into it because Twin Peaks is just a whole nother thing, and it's just layers. After they were able to pinpoint where Alice had buried her phone, they finally figured out what has been bothering her this entire time.
You scared of dying?
Yeah, of course I'm scared of dying. Isn't everyone scared of dying?
Would you like to tell me a little bit about what happens in these dreams?
I feel like something bad is going to happen to me. I feel like something bad has happened. It hasn't reached me yet, but it's on its way. And it's getting closer. And I don't feel ready. I feel like I can't do anything.
At some point, this figure came towards her from out of the darkness.
I recognised the face as soon as I saw it on the phone video. It was the same face of the body that I had identified at the dam. It was Ellie's body and Ellie's face.
Now in the end, the movie does end up raising way more questions after, especially after the movie ends, when you think everybody got closure. She appears in the pictures. She even appears in the pictures that were originally hoaxed by her brother. And it's just, again, it's just really eerie and it's scary, and it's just something that still gives me chills every time I watch it. It's honestly, it's fucking crazy how much this movie has affected me. A simple movie that doesn't even have a single jump scare, at least by traditional terms. Now, I wanted to give my own interpretation of the film in general, the ending, as well as, of course, my thoughts on it. I mean, if you already saw it before, I gave it a 9 out of 10. It is a really good movie. But I feel like the whole film was this special, almost boxed in. Again, harking back to Twin Peaks. It is like this weird wrinkle in time that happened during the movie where her death ended up overlapping with her life. And this is way more provable in sessions that the psychic Ray has with the mother June, as well as, again, it's another big reveal, Alice, who actually went to see Ray 7 months before her death, which she never told the family about. The thing about the guided hypno tours that he was giving to the mom and Alice, it was strangely like related to. It was a moment where the mother was describing walking into her daughter's room and not seeing her and then just leaving. And then you go back to the footage that took 7 months before her death where she's talking to Ray too, and she said that she's in her room and she sees her mom come in, but her mom doesn't see her and she leaves. We have things like that, and it's just, it gets really crazy the more you rewatch the movie. It's a movie that gets better with every single viewing. Like The Last Jedi, by the way. It's another good movie. I give that a fucking 8. And it really does show what they wanted you to feel about this whole movie, and what they really wanted you to understand, that it isn't a ghost story. It isn't really a psychological horror story, but it does come off as one. It is really just a story about a family grieving over their loss. It really does become believable. You really do believe that this family is hurting and that you want the best for them. Of course, course that's never gonna happen. So all in all, I think Lake Mungo is an underrated gem. It did come out 10 years ago, if I didn't mention that, 2008. It did receive critical acclaim during its limited release. You know, I never really saw the movie when it came out, sadly. I was way too young for that. I was actually watching like The Dark Knight and stuff, you know? Typical stuff for my age. I'm 21, by the way. Hopefully, you know, me talking about it, like if that even got you interested in it, like I would just highly recommend, because there are no words that I can say that can just convey how much I love this movie. I'm Blayden, thank you for watching.